Good evening, Rabotai. So we're going to speak a little bit of the Ilchot Avilut. So there's a mitzvah midarabanan to do the mitzvah of Chesed, to do Nihum Avelim. Nihum Avelim means to console the mourners. This is what Rambam writes in the 14th chapter of Ilchot Avilut. That is a mitzvah to give a sped. It's a mitzvah to bury the dead. There's a mitzvah to do levaya. There's also a mitzvah to do Nihum Avelim, to visit the mourners in their house and to give them consolement, to give them a chizuk, and to be able to help them to get over their loss. Now there's two parts. You're doing chesed with the person who's suffering, who's mourning. And you're doing also a chesed with the neshama of the person who passed away. For this, that people mourn for them during the Shiva, and you help the people mourn, so this is all also going to help the neshama of the person who is niftar. It gives a spiritual tikkun for them. So therefore you're doing two chesed. Chesed with the mourner, and chesed with the person who passed away. So therefore it's a mitzvah midarabanan to do nihum avelim. Now the Gemara in Masechet Katan says, when you go to do nihum avelim, it's forbidden for those who go to visit to speak first. They are not allowed to speak first. We learn from Eov that when he suffered loss in his family, people went to Eov's house and they didn't talk until Eov spoke. So therefore Shulchan Aruch writes, Siman Shinayin Vav, that no one's allowed to speak until the Avel starts speaking first. He has to speak first to start the conversation, and afterwards you can start telling him things. But a person shouldn't come first and start telling him things first until he opens the conversation. Now, the Poskim Aharonim write that Chazon Ovadia and others write that if a person, let's say the Avel doesn't know this halacha, and he's waiting for you, so what, you're going to wait for him, he's going to wait for you, so therefore you're allowed to start speaking in that situation. Or let's say he wants to talk first, but he can't, it's very difficult for him. You see that he's trying, but he can't. Over there also you could start speaking, but otherwise you have to wait until the Avel starts speaking, and then you can start giving him comfort. Most of the time, just being there and just listening is the biggest Nihum Avelim. You don't have to talk so much when you're Nihum Avelim. If you're going to say something, you have to think many times over before you say something. Maybe, Chaz v'shalom, you'll make it worse. The person is very careful with the words he uses. To say it in a hamum in a shamayim, and just to sit there and listen is the best way to give nihum avelim. Most of the time, people don't want to hear lectures. Maybe if you're their rabbi, if you're very close to them, so then maybe they will listen. But otherwise, just to say it in a hamum in a shamayim, to listen to him talk about the person who has passed away, to help them remember the niftar, to help them say good things about the niftar, this is more than enough. The fact that you came, the fact that you listened, the fact that you gave it to a hamum in a shamayim, this is already more than enough. The Midrash in Mishlei says that Rameir Balanes's wife, Bruria, she was also a very righteous woman, Talmid Chacham, almost in the status of Talmid Chacham, very, very knowledgeable woman. So it happened to be that he was in Yeshiva, Rameir Balanes, and his two sons passed away, and Bruria was home when her sons passed away. So they go, and she wants to know how to think of a way to tell her husband that his two sons passed away. She came to him first, and he said, listen, imagine somebody gave you a deposit. What would you say when the person who owns the deposit asks for it back? Would you give him? Rameir Balan said, of course. He says, and what if the deposit he gave you was very expensive? It costs a lot of money. He says, what do you mean? It's not mine. Of course I have to give it back. So he says, and what if I told you HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself gave you a deposit, and now he's asking for it back? You would give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? He says, of course I would give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's the question? What are you talking about? He says, you should know. Today, Hashem came back and he took his two deposits, your two sons, he came and took the deposit, he took his deposit back. Our children was never ours. As people say, Bogdal, Bogzal. So therefore he said he was able to be spokon in that moment, he accepted it. Why? Because she gave him the chizuk, she prepped him, she gave him a little speech before, he didn't understand what she was saying, but in the end, he was able to solve it. So you see, the power of giving good words can help a person go through a tough time. Baruch Na'olam.